The reason a Central Kentucky road department got involved in fixing a sinkhole on private property.
Alcoholic Beverage Control is trying to take the liquor license of a Lexington strip club where there have been multiple acts of violence.
Multiple police agencies have stepped up to the plate. They're filling in while the Richmond Police Department is in Washington, D.C., honoring fallen officer Daniel Ellis. We'll tell you why one department say doing the favor is important to them.
This is WKYT News at 5.
Good afternoon to you. Road crews spent the day filling a sinkhole threatening a home and a road.
Now, this is some video of the sinkhole that Officer Don Evans shot yesterday on Fork Church Road in Garrett County. Overnight, the hole grew larger, coming within just a couple feet of the road itself. Phil Pendleton shows us how the road department got involved in trying to fix the problem. It's our top story at 5.
The Garrett County Judge Executive said that this sinkhole was getting dangerously close to Fork Church Road here, so they brought in dump trucks, a lot of rock, and a lot of dirt, and they were able to successfully fill the sinkhole this morning. Work began early Friday morning to fill in the massive hole that was threatening the home and its family, but county officials discovered that the road was also at risk and in danger of possible collapse. School buses were diverted around the area and the road was closed most of Friday morning. The judge executive said lasers were used to measure the inside of the hole Thursday night, and they calculated the hole was within just 2 feet of the roadway.
Probably about 40 foot from the back end of it out towards the road, but it's on the edge of the road right now.
The county road foreman, the judge executive, other county officials say they have never seen a sinkhole this big. We're going to have a lot more at 6 o'clock, but for now in Garrett County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Thank you, Phil. Also, the county officials say they did the work on the property owner's land because the hole was threatening a public roadway.
After a string of warm and rainy days, we have cooler air ahead of us. WKYT Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey's here now with our weekend forecast. How about it, Chris?
Yeah, starting things out, Amber, on a very nice note. Thankfully, we turned the faucet off, at least in the short term, giving us that good-looking start to the weekend. If you're cooped up indoors, kind of like we are right now, you got to have a little window, weather window to the world. This is ours. Big monitor back here in the weather office. Look at that sky that is out there. Current temperature, Lexington, 69 degrees. Humidity, not bad at all, 45% winds. A bit a little gusty today, can't complain. High 60s to around 70, just about each and every stop across the Bluegrass State. That is noticeably cooler than the past several days, but hey, I'll take a little cool down if it means some drier weather. Defender radar network is calm and clean now. That changes, though, to our northwest. That's a strong cold front. Those showers and storms that you see ahead of that zipping in and out of town quickly tomorrow morning. But look what is coming behind that. Cold conditions for the middle of May. We've got snowflakes flying across parts of the western Great Lakes. If you're out this evening, it's a nice one. Temperatures dropping from the 60s into the upper 50s by 11 o'clock. From there, though, we track the Saturday morning showers and thunderstorms and the possibility of a little frost when you wake up Sunday morning. Oh, yeah, storms come back next week. We'll track those when I come back in a few.
Chris, thank you. Police in Lexington have been working with the state to take the liquor license from a strip club following a rash of violence.
In just the past 6 months, Camelot East on Richmond Road has been the scene of 2 murders and a string of shootings. Our Victor Puente has more on the club crackdown.
Lexington police say since November, there have been 2 murders and at least 3 shootings in the area near Camelot East. That violence is one of the reasons Alcoholic Beverage Control is trying to take away their liquor license. In February, after 23-year-old LaRoz Lee Mitchell was shot outside of Camelot East, Lexington police told us they were working with officers from the state and local alcoholic beverage control offices. At the time, they said they were looking into activity that has happened at or near Camelot East and investigating whether there is a connection between that activity and the business. Now we know that they've taken steps against the club. Lexington police say in addition to that violence, other violations include marijuana they found on the property, as well as alcohol that had been purchased at a liquor store. Under ABC regulations, any alcohol sold at the club must be purchased from a distributor. Because of those charges, Lexington Alcoholic Beverage Control chose to revoke the business's liquor license. The club's owners are fighting that decision and have appealed it to the state's ABC board, a process police say could take half a year. Until it's resolved, the club will be able to serve alcohol.
I'm actually very concerned that in the meantime, while the court cases and the hearings are still going on, that if the establishment continues to operate the way they have, allowing the level of disorder they have over the last several months, I'm afraid that there'll be other incidents in the area, just like the ones we saw in November, December, February, that ultimately led to 2 people losing their lives on different occasions.
We tried talking to people who work in businesses near Camelot East about everything that's been happening. Most of them said they couldn't talk about it, and the one that did asked that we didn't identify her. You'll hear from her coming up at 6. In Lexington, Victor Puente, WKYT.
And that's not all. Lexington police say in addition to Camelot East, they have active investigations or hearings involving 3 other clubs: Camelot West, Paradise City, and Club Envy.
Dozens of Central Kentucky police officers have traveled to Washington, D.C. to honor a fallen colleague. The officers from the Richmond Police Department will be remembering Officer Daniel Ellis as his name is added to the National Police Officers Memorial. As WKYT's Caitlin Sentner shows us, while they're gone, other agencies have stepped in to keep the city safe.
If you get pulled over in Richmond this week, the flashing lights behind you might be from another police agency. Berea Police, among other agencies, have stepped up to the plate. Richmond officers are in Washington, D.C. honoring their fallen brother. Richmond Police Department is remembering fallen officer Daniel Ellis this week. It's Police Week, and in Washington, D.C., fallen officers from around the country will be honored at a memorial Sunday. Officer Ellis is one of 6 from Kentucky. It's a special and emotional moment for the brothers in blue. That's why Berea Police wanted to step in and patrol Richmond at no cost to the Richmond Police Department.
It's been said before, but law enforcement is a brotherhood, and we're all like one big family. You know, Madison County has 2 cities in it, which is a little bit unique, and we work closely together. They're only 10 miles up the interstate, so we work together all the time anyways. So this is just something that we could do for them.
I talked with one of the Berea officers out patrolling Richmond today, and he says the call volume is larger here, but it's really been a joy to do. Madison County Sheriff's Office and EKU Police are also helping patrol. In Richmond, Caitlin Sentner, WKYT.
And WKYT, Sean Moody is in Washington, D.C. following the events honoring Officer Ellis and 5 other Kentucky officers who died in the line of duty. He shows us the support they're receiving on WKYT News at 6.
An argument over a parking spot sent one man to jail. Our county-by-county coverage begins in Laurel County. The sheriff's office says Cornelius Dixon pulled a gun on another driver during an argument at the pilot station off the West Cumberland Parkway. Dixon is charged with wanton endangerment. In Knox County, Barberville police say they've seized more than 100 grams of meth in 2 weeks. The seizures happened between May 2nd and yesterday. 2 were made during a traffic stop, 1 at a hotel and another at a couple's home.
Public schools are now at the center of debate over transgender rights. The Obama administration issued new guidelines today to allow students to use facilities based on their gender identity instead of their biological sex. As Weijia Zhang tells us, the guidelines quickly stirred up controversy.
The new federal guidelines tell all public schools that transgender students are not to be discriminated against and should be treated consistent with their gender identity, even if it's different than school records. That includes access to bathrooms and locker rooms.
It's actually to ensure that our schools are as inclusive and respectful and safe as they can possibly be.
The directive comes amid a legal battle between North Carolina and the federal government, which ordered the state to repeal its law requiring people to use bathrooms matching the gender on their birth certificate. The Obama administration is not legally requiring the schools to follow the guidelines, but this letter ties compliance to billions of education dollars.
We will not yield to blackmail from the President of the United States.
Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick says he won't enforce the guidelines.
This has everything to do with keeping the federal government out of local issues.
But some parents say schools should have higher priorities.
The focus of the school district should be on teaching the children, not on trying to separate and segregate and make students feel that they're separate and unequal.
Texas stands to lose about $10 billion. Weijia Zhang, CBS News, the White House.
A court will decide whether North Carolina's law violates Title IX. The White House says the state will continue to receive federal education dollars until the matter is resolved legally. We're going to have reaction from Kentuckians to the new guidelines coming up for you on WKYT News at 6. Here's a look at the most viewed stories on our website right now. People want to know more about the rescue of a girl at the center of an Amber Alert, a body found at the Red River Gorge, and Governor Bevin's reaction to new federal guidelines on transgender students. You can find those stories and more on WKYT.com.
Kentucky Congressman Hal Rogers is getting ready to unveil additional funding to fight the Zika virus. The Congressman and Appropriations Committee chair briefed his colleagues on the measure this morning. He would not give many details, only saying the measure provides significantly less than the $1.1 billion Senate bill introduced yesterday. Zika is a mosquito-borne virus that's been linked to birth defects. A computer glitch means that thousands of flyers made it to their destinations without their bags. That's a tough situation if you've ever been in the server failure at Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport yesterday prevented the TSA from using machines to screen checked luggage. So hundreds of bags had to be loaded into trucks and taken to surrounding airports for screening. It could take days for them to arrive at their destinations.
It's very stressful because I hope that everything that I packed is still in there after people have hand-checked it.
The TSA is already facing criticism for slow lines at checkpoints. The agency's leader says he's trying to hire and train more staff to deal with the problem.
For the first time ever, a woman is heading up a top U.S. warfighting command. Major General Lori Robinson will oversee NORAD along with the Northern Command. Robinson joined the Air Force in 1982 and was commander of the Pacific. She will also be in charge of security at the southern border, trying to stop drug trafficking and smuggling from Mexico.
I can't think of a more sacred responsibility than defense of the homeland.
In a Senate Confirmation Committee hearing in April, she told lawmakers she thinks the biggest threats to the U.S. and Russia are homegrown extremists. It's believed to be a first in Ohio. The state has cited the Horseshoe Casino in Cincinnati for serving too much alcohol to a man charged in a deadly crash. Police say Corey Lipmeyer drank at the casino's bar the same night he rear-ended a car on Interstate 275. The driver of that car died. The Ohio Liquor Control Commission whether to fine the casino or to suspend or revoke its liquor permits.
A school building complete with gym and auditorium for only $22,000. And that sounds too good to be true. Well, it is, because it's a senior prank. The outgoing class at Henry Clay High School put their school on Craigslist as a joke. They even offered to throw in the freshman class at no extra cost. How kind. The prank caused the phones at the school to ring off the hook. Henry County's principal called it a memorable joke, but he did ask the students to remove the ad.